And so it hit me in the face and just sent me flying backwards.
My name is Dr. Tony Cicoria. I was a no-nonsense orthopedic surgeon, deeply rooted in science, logic, and anatomy, and even quicker to dismiss anything that didn't have evidence behind it. But in August of 1994, something happened that rewired everything I believed about life, death, and what comes after. I was at a family birthday party, just stepped away to call my mom from an old payphone. Clear skies 1 minute, storm rolling in the next. I dialed her number, waited, no answer. Then, a flash, a sound like the sky ripped open. The lightning hit me square in the face and blew me off my feet. But the real shock? I didn't die. At least not the way you'd think. Because what happened next? Seeing my body on the ground, floating through walls, feeling love like I've never known before, that was just the beginning. I thought I had life figured out. Fix broken bones, heal the body, publish papers, and climb the professional ladder. That was the path. That was reality. Until lightning decided to introduce me to another one. It was supposed to be just another family birthday party. My wife's side had 5 birthdays that fell in August, so we'd rented a pavilion at Sleepy Hollow Lake in upstate New York to celebrate. Sun was shining, grill was hot, kids were laughing. Life felt normal. I had stepped away for a moment to call my mother. She wasn't able to come that day, and since my dad had already passed, I just wanted to check in on her. There was a payphone mounted on the front of the building. We're talking 1994 here, before smartphones. I remember dialing the number, punching in the code, letting it ring. No answer. She must have been busy. And just as I was about to hang up, everything changed. A blinding flash. A crack louder than anything I've ever heard. The phone exploded with light and energy, and it hit me square in the face, like a sledgehammer made of lightning. My body flew back like a rag doll. I don't remember hitting the ground. Now here's where it gets strange. I didn't black out. I didn't see darkness. I wasn't confused. One moment I was holding a phone, and the next I was somewhere else. I was standing, but not in my body. I was fully conscious, thinking clearly, and I could see everything around me. The weird thing? I wasn't in pain. I wasn't even scared. I was just aware. I looked up and saw my mother-in-law running down the stairs, screaming, but not at me, through me. It was like I wasn't there. She looked right past me. That's when I turned to see what she was looking at. And there I was, my body on the ground, lifeless. I remember thinking, oh, I'm dead. But it didn't feel tragic. It felt factual. As if death wasn't some huge, dramatic moment. It was just a shift, a seamless step into another version of reality. And I wasn't alone. A woman nearby, who turned out to be a nurse, rushed over and started CPR. I could see her working on me. I could hear people yelling, but no one could hear me. I was shouting, trying to communicate, but I was invisible and silent. The strangest part? I was still me. I wasn't confused. I was thinking exactly how I always did. My internal voice, my memories, my thought patterns, they were all intact. That realization hit hard. Whoever I am, I always am. There's no such thing as death. Not really. We are not our bodies. We're something inside them. The body? It's just a costume, a shell. I looked down at myself and felt completely detached, like looking at an old piece of clothing you've outgrown. I started walking toward the pavilion, wanting to check on my wife and kids. I climbed a few steps, and that's when things shifted again. My legs started to dissolve. I lost all form. I became a ball of energy. No arms, no face, just pure, conscious light. And without even touching the next set of stairs, I passed right through the wall. On the other side, I found myself hovering directly above my wife. She was painting children's faces, something she always did at these events. I remember scanning the room, locking in on the positions of the furniture, the children, even the colors they were wearing. Later, I was able to describe everything to her in perfect detail. Things I couldn't possibly have seen if I were unconscious on the ground. Then, I rose through the roof, and that's when the flood came. Not water, energy. I fell into a river, no, a torrent of pure bluish-white energy. It was love. It was peace. It was everything we're chasing on Earth, but never quite touch. There were no other emotions. No fear, no grief, no guilt. Just this overwhelming sense of being home. And I knew it instantly. This was the God energy. This was the source of everything. In that moment, I started seeing snapshots of my life. Not like a movie, more like a photo album flashing through in rapid fire. Highs, lows, triumphs, mistakes. No judgment, just observation. It was as if my soul was reflecting on its journey, quietly, gently, without commentary. And then, pain. Sharp, shocking, burning pain. I was slammed back into my body. It felt like two red-hot pokers were jammed through my face and foot, the entry and exit points of the lightning. I started screaming, but only in my head. Please don't make me go back. I don't want to do this. And it wasn't because I didn't love my life. I had a wife and 3 amazing kids. But compared to where I'd just been, this body, this world, felt like prison. I was furious. I begged to stay, but it wasn't up to me. When I came to, everything was blurry. The nurse was still kneeling beside me. I tried to thank her, but the only thing I could manage to say was, "I'm a doctor." What a dumb thing to say, right? I didn't go to the hospital. I didn't want to sit in an ER for hours just to be told I was alive. Instead, I called my cardiologist and neurologist friends. They ran their tests. Everyone said the same thing. You're lucky to be alive. But I didn't feel lucky. I felt completely unmoored. Before the lightning, I was chasing titles, leading spine conferences, publishing papers. That version of life didn't matter anymore. It all felt hollow. And then something even stranger started happening. I became obsessed with classical piano music, and I don't mean casually interested. I mean possessed. I was a kid of the 60s. It was all rock and roll for me. But now, I needed Chopin. I had to hear it. I drove all the way to Albany just to buy a CD. It was Vladimir Ashkenazy playing Chopin's favorites. That CD practically jumped off the shelf into my hands. I took it home and couldn't stop playing it, over and over. But it didn't stop there. Suddenly, I didn't just want to listen, I needed to play. The very next day, one of our babysitters showed up at the house. She said she was moving and asked if we could store her old upright piano for a year. I stood there stunned. Just yesterday, I'd wished for a piano, and now one literally rolled through my front door. I sat down and began teaching myself to play. A couple weeks later, I had a dream. In it, I was on stage. I was performing, but not someone else's music, my own. I could hear it clearly, every note, every phrase. The final chord was so loud, it woke me out of a dead sleep. I looked at the clock, 3:15 a.m. I rushed to the piano and tried to play what I heard. I couldn't. I didn't know how. I didn't even know how to write it down. But from that moment on, the music wouldn't stop. I'd hear it during surgery, at dinner, in the shower. I had to get it out of my head. I found a music writing program called Sibelius, essentially music for dummies. I poured everything into it, every spare second, before dawn, after midnight. I was either playing or transcribing. I practiced more than I slept. I was possessed by the piano, and when I played, I felt it again, that connection, that euphoric peace from the other side. It was like the music was a frequency, a portal, a spiritual tether to something bigger than me. I started reading about other composers. Mozart said the music came to him fully formed. All he did was write it down. I knew exactly what he meant. You see, I don't believe our brains contain all our knowledge. I think they're receivers, tuning into information from somewhere else, somewhere off-site, somewhere eternal. What I saw that day, what I became, showed me that death isn't an ending. It's a doorway. And we walk through it into a form we've always been. We're spirits wearing temporary suits. And when this chapter ends, we continue. We grow. We evolve. I believe we reincarnate. We heal. We learn. We keep going, through lives, through lessons, until we're ready to return to the source. And here's something I now know deep in my soul. There are two paths in life: service to others or service to self. Only one of them takes you home. Looking back, I don't think the lightning was an accident. It felt more like a wake-up call, one I didn't know I needed. I used to live for success, titles, and the next achievement. But after that day, none of it mattered the same way. Music, love, connection, those became my compass. I realized we're not here just to survive or impress. We're here to grow, help, and remember who we really are beneath all the noise. That strike didn't just restart my heart, it rewired my soul. And honestly, I wouldn't trade that moment of death for anything in this life.